Hello, Scorpio. This is your weekly oracle card reading. I am trying something new out and offering a weekly reading based on the moon phase for each zodiac sign. So this is from the full moon we just had on the 19th until the third quarter moon, which will be on the 26th of February 2019. Let's see. Just getting this set up so that I can see any chats. Alrighty, so this is if you have your sun, moon, or rising in Scorpio. Oh, I don't know why the video quality is so bad. Okay, getting started. I apologize if it's a little bit blurry. I'm not really sure why it's like that. Alrighty, so I'm going to just set the intention for the reading. So this is for Scorpios with their sun, moon, or rising signs in Scorpio for the week from the February 19th to February 26th, thereabouts. What energies are at play in their lives? What does Spirit want them to know? Any guidance, advice, encouragement for Scorpios for this week? I'm just going to tune in and see how many cards I'm going to draw for you today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with 2 cards. We might do more from another deck. We'll see. Okay. Our first card. Sometimes feels like a card is the right card, but then it's not. So you'll notice sometimes I move through the deck kind of quickly and sometimes I pause for quite a while. It's me checking in to see whether that's the card or not. Okay, I'm getting this as the second card, but hold on. Okay, So this is the second card, but I need to reverse it. Okay, so let's see what we have here. The first card is Compass, and it's upright. This is a card that I don't know that I've ever drawn in a reading. I've been using this deck for about a year now, and there's a lot of cards in here that just don't show up in my readings, probably because for the most part, I've, mostly have used it in reading for myself or my family or close friends. And so, there tends to be certain themes playing out in people's lives, and often the same 20 cards appear, here and there for them. So anyhow, let's see, 50, Compass, and this was in the upright position, excuse me. So this is, remember, Scorpio. As long as you orient your compass to true north, the direction of your higher power, you will never be lost. You're entering uncharted territories right now and can expect wonderful new experiences. To stay on the highest path of your destiny, excuse me, I'm sorry, my dog is really distracting me. Go lie down right now, please. Go lie down, please. Okay. To stay on the highest path of your destiny, you'll need to keep your compass pointed to true north. Only spirit or a higher power can serve this function. Money, property, prestige, romance, and other material achievements can't help you find your true path. They are simply things you may experience along the journey. Know that spirit is working in your life, so even if you feel lost temporarily, it will be easy to find your way. Have faith and trust, for your compass, with spirit as true north, will ensure you'll never be lost, even on a starless night when all seems dark. So one thing I really feel with this card at this time of the month, being after the full moon, is that this is a period of time that is not really so good for making moving forward in new plans, new opportunities, new people. It is a really good time, however, for reflecting on what actions you might like to take in the future, and rejuvenating, resting, basically the preparation, that kind of quiet inner reflection, yin, receptive, non-outward active sort of time. So this really seems to tie into this, because it's possible with some of you Scorpios that perhaps you have been experiencing some changes and shifts in your life, maybe with jobs or certain relationships, and you might have been feeling some concern about the future, like not really sure what new opportunities are going to come along for you. Maybe even some uncertainty about what paths to take, what choices to make. And so the main message here is that as long as you're setting your compass, setting your intention on being aligned with your spirit's will, divine will, then you can't go wrong, really. So, and also just to trust that certain things, like it was saying, material things, material success, relationship success, all of these sorts of things can't actually, bring you any lasting happiness on their own. They're just kind of a byproduct of you experiencing, your experiences along your way. So, yes, you might experience increased wealth and increased happiness and all of these things, and I'm certain you probably would experience increased happiness on some level the more aligned with your divine path as you are, but it's not those things that bring you that sense of peace. They're just a byproduct of being on that path. I'm sorry if that's a little bit convoluted. So, anyhow, the main message here is align yourself with divine will and trust that the divine is present in your life and working in your life. And, set that intention that you seek to align yourself with that divine will. However that works for you, whether you identify with connecting with the divine as a god or goddess, or your soul, your higher self, um, the united good of all, whatever it is, just trust that when you set your intention to be on the best possible path, um, then you will be. Things will unfold that way. So just trust that even if you can't see your entire path laid out in front of you, that when you have that faith in walking that divine path, it will be illuminated for you as you go. You might only see a few steps in front of you, maybe even sometimes just the next step, but you will, be seeing it. You will be guided in some way. So the next card is details, and it's in the reversed position. Number 43. Details. Heed the gentle warning that perfectionism will not lead you to what you desire, but instead will steer you away from it. Nothing will be good enough when you become obsessed with being perfect. No one can ever measure up to your scrutiny, and nothing that you can ever do will assuage that general feeling of not being up to par. You're already perfect, just as you are. This card challenges you to accept things as they are in all their imperfections, to step into the world and engage without any expectations. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. So, connected with this card, I'd say that's extremely powerful. So, maybe some of you are feeling a little bit doubtful about where you are in your life. Maybe some of you are taking stock and feeling like you haven't accomplished what you've wanted to accomplish, that things that you set out as your goals have not been met in the ways that you wanted to meet them. And so, whatever it may be, any areas of your life where you're feeling, these strong, like a sense of wanting things to be perfect, and usually when people have issues with perfectionism, they usually have these views towards themselves, very much so. But then also that can carry over to how they view other people. So, if you do have any areas that you struggle with perfectionism, you might want to do some exploring on that. And this is actually a really good time for that. Because, like I said, this time between now and the new moon in a couple of weeks is a time to really reflect. It's time for inner sort of work so that you can be prepared and ready to take those new steps when the new moon comes along. That's a time more for greater power of starting new things, planting new seeds, and it could be working on stuff that you've already been working on, but it's, sometimes there's just that natural flow of active and resting. And so now is more of a resting time. But it's a really good time for you to look at areas where you might be holding yourself or others to an extremely high standard that's really unattainable. Because here's the thing. The main message in this card is not that you can't attain these goals. It's that your particular mindset is that even when those goals are attained, there's no satisfaction there. Even when that quote perfection is achieved, then there's always going to be something else that pops up that's not good enough. So, um, and that's like a really key thing. I hope that, hopefully, you can recognize that. For those of you that this resonates with, that it's not about that you can't achieve greatness. It's that even when you do, you're always going to find some fault. And it's normally going to be finding some fault within yourself. Although, of course, it can work both ways. You can find fault in the situation where no matter what, you're always going to find something. But a lot of times, ultimately, there's going to be a lot of self-criticism involved where, you are feeling that you're just not good enough, or that, yes, you attained this, but here's these three other reasons why you still didn't do a good enough job, even after you attained your goal. So take some time to really explore that. And, maybe, I personally am of the belief, and I recognize that not everyone has this belief, but I feel very strongly that we are basically born into perfection, but that the situations, it's not so much that the world warps us, but I guess that's just kind of part of the human nature and the human experience, is that we respond to various situations in life, and have different assumptions about what they mean, and then we develop these ideas and these beliefs about ourselves, about the nature of life, the nature of existence, the natures, like things like good, bad. Um, we discover what we like and what we dislike and all of these sorts of things. But we do experience a great deal of conditioning, whether it's because we're conditioning ourselves, because we're developing certain beliefs about things based on what we're experiencing in life, or whether it's because others, such as society or family or religion, is conditioning us with their particular viewpoints about how things should be. One way or another, we are definitely conditioned. So it's like you're already perfect. There is a perfect you that already exists and is 100% whole. It is not broken. It is not damaged. It not. But the thing is that you could think of it like this way: that it's like um, you have these extra, you have like these layers, and there's these layers of falsehood, these layers of negative beliefs about yourself or about life or whatnot, um, unhealthy mindsets, habits that really do not help you in any way. Perhaps they helped you at one time survive through some difficult situation, but to carry that forward in situations that don't need that, all these different things, baggage, walls, the walls you put up to keep yourself safe, from being harmed and hurt emotionally and whatnot. All of these things, they happen for a reason, but the real the real the meat of enlightenment, of true self-growth, isn't the addition of anything to you, it's the taking away of all the bullshit, letting all of that stuff go. And usually we have to do it bit by bit, kind of like chipping away with a chisel at some of these things that we've erected in our lives, or that have been put on us, you know. So this card is really saying, that perfection, you truly are perfect right now as you are. You might have some excess out, things like, I use this analogy the other day in a conversation of like a duck that's been caught in an oil spill. The duck is still a perfect duck underneath all that oil, but that oil is preventing it from being healthy, and the duck could die from the oil. um, but it prevents it from swimming well and breathing well and eating well and all of that. But once that oil is removed and washed off, the duck is pretty much right back to being a healthy duck, once it's recovered and whatnot. So the point is that perfect being still exists inside there, even though there's this other stuff there. So it's not about adding stuff. You don't need to add anything to you to be better, more loving, more lovable, more successful, any of that. All of that's already present within you. That's why my channel is called The Inner You. It's a play on words because the yew tree is a very profound tree in the pagan histories, various pagan cultures and whatnot, um, have, you know, found the yew tree to be an extremely spiritual tree. It's very interesting. Lots of interesting stuff. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you should check out some of the metaphysical and spiritual meanings of the yew tree. But anyhow, so the inner you, that's where it's at. It doesn't matter about that external stuff. So anyhow, main message here, get in touch with that, with your inner self. Try to be more compassionate with yourself. And, some people struggle with being able to be compassionate with others, and yet they're not able to give themselves that same compassion. Make sure if you're able to give others compassion, then why is it that you're not worthy of that same compassion? Sometimes you have to ask these things of yourself kind of logically, because you might get stuck in a habit where it's really easy for you to be caring with others, but not really having that same level of care for yourself. So do what you can to try not to have that sort of perfectionist mindset, and which really just comes down to accepting yourself as you are now, accepting your situations, and trusting that when you set out to be aligned with your divine purpose on your divine path, that you don't need to worry. It's going to fall into place. The divine is there with you, helping you along. Your soul, your spirit guides, angels, God, goddesses, whatever way that you connect with the divine, that is definitely present in your life and helping you along. And if you have any confusion, if you're struggling to be more accepting of yourselves and others, you can always ask for that help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. In fact, if anything, I'm sure that Spirit is disappointed when we don't ask for help more, because they can't interfere and help unless we ask. So, how frustrating. Can you imagine if someone's right there and you have exactly what they need for they're struggling and struggling and struggling, but you can't give it to them unless they ask you? Imagine how frustrating that must be. Of course, that's putting kind of a human view on things, but still, there's an infinite amount of assistance and love available. It's not like there's a shortage, but all you have to do is ask, and you will definitely receive that help. So anyhow, hi there, Ten of Cups. Hope you enjoyed the reading. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit the bell notification. I do offer personalized free oracle and tarot card readings here and there as I'm able to. I also have a website, www.theinneryou.com, just like my channel name. And I have very affordable card readings and astrological reports available there. Also have a blog where I post some articles and some poetry and some stuff like that. So hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.